Well, it is Tuesday and continuing on in Second Samuel. Again, really hope the Bible Project videos we bring to you are helpful. And again, just recommend go to their site. You can watch ahead of time. Anyways, again, wanting to get big picture overview of things as we again look at individual chapters or sections. We're starting today in 2 Samuel chapter 7. Daniel, oh boy, it's been one of those weeks, folks. All right, David has established his power base as king. He's king of Israel. He's reinforced Jerusalem as his capital. He has multiple sons, so his dynasty is set from a human perspective for at least another generation. The Ark of the Covenant is now in Jerusalem, and he has rest from his enemies. The only thing left to secure his dynasty and legacy as a king from an ancient kind of, the cultures of that time was to build a temple to God. This is what kings and other cultures did when they kind of established their legacy, when they established their dynasty. It's like, here we go, I'm going to build a temple. And so David doesn't just do it, he asks permission, and he goes to the prophet Nathan, and Nathan goes, yeah, go ahead. Kind of God is with you. And Nathan didn't go and ask God when he gave that information. He's just kind of, God's with you. This is what you're looking to do. Go for it. But then God goes, hold on. And it turns out it's not going to be David, but a successor. And we'll see that it's Solomon, but a successor of David's going to build a temple. God didn't want a house of cedar like David had. God, like a temple, it's a fixed place. Where a tabernacle, God had been on the move. He had been with the people. God didn't ask for a temple. But here's an amazing thing. This is one of the amazing chapters in the book of Samuel. Instead of David getting permission to build God a house, which kind of is like David's effort to establish himself, God goes, David, I'm going to promise you a house. By my effort, by my doing. God's going, David, I'm going to make you great. David, this isn't about you using me to make you great. And there's covenant language here. I will be his father. He will be my son. There's the reference to chesed, that steadfast love. God's saying, it's never going to be taken away from your family. And again, remember, covenant is the primary way God establishes relationship with humanity. And most covenants are conditional. We obey, God blesses. We disobey, there's consequences. The Mosaic covenant, the Leviticus, Deuteronomy, what we often talk about as the Old Covenant, was conditional. If God's people obeyed, they would receive these blessings. If they didn't, there would be these consequences leading to exile as the ultimate consequence. Then we see in, again, Ezekiel 12, God's presence leaves the temple because of the disobedience of the people, because the covenant was conditional. Some covenants in the ancient world, though, were not conditional. They were based on the character or the power of the one granting the covenant. And this is the type of covenant God is entering into David, or entering into with David here. I shouldn't record these on Thursday afternoons, folks. Anyways, God's going, look, even if David, your sons are treasonous, which they're going to be, God's going to remain faithful to this promise to David. And the ultimate fulfillment of this covenant is Jesus. And we're going to get there as we go through the rest of the Old Testament and we get into the New Testament. But it's just setting the stage here for us, looking for this Messiah of the line of David. It's this promise is why we look for the Messiah to come from the line of David. And David responds to this amazing offer by worshiping and going, God, keep this promise. This is amazing. This is more than I was hoping for. I was trying to build my own legacy, build my own standing, and you're giving to me more than I could hope for or imagine. David's kingdom was not established by David's doing. he received it from God. And this is going to come back. This idea of receiving or taking is going to be a theme over these next few chapters, as we'll see. Now, I want to say that there's sometimes then this tension of, well, what is the nature of the new covenant? Is it conditional or is it permanent? And the answer, what we see within the Old Testament, what kind of the seeds that are there, and then the New Testament, is the answer is yes. There's some conditional and there's some that's enduring. God's side is enduring. We can trust his promises. And there's pieces that are conditional, that we can opt in or opt out. As Paul would say, we work out our salvation. Or as James would say, faith without works is dead. We receive God's gift by grace, and receiving that gift means we seek to live it out. We allow God to change us. We put effort in, not to earn favor with God, but to make the gift we've been given more and more who we are and how we live. And so I just want to close today by just this encouragement, is to reflect on how is God asking you to respond today to his faithfulness. God has made promises to you, promises to be with you, promises to never abandon you. How is God calling for you? Maybe it's sitting with God like David did and worship. Maybe there's something you're going through and you're going, God, you've made this promise. I need you to come through on this. That's okay. Maybe it's celebrating what God has already done, just as an encouragement to someone else. Ask God how he wants you to respond to his faithfulness today. As you do, may the Lord bless you and keep you. May the Lord make his face to shine upon you. May the Lord be gracious to you. And today would you know his peace. God bless.